Hello. So, if you've been following my channel for a little bit, you've seen me do things like butterfly wings and molds and the moon earrings with the snakes. Today I'm going to do something that's more normal for me, more my style. I like to do things like put bugs in resin. I will link where I got this bug from in the description box. She's a licensed importer, so the bugs I get are not extinct or endangered. So, what I do, I may also do this bug today as well, but I haven't decided yet. So for now, I'll put that off on the side. So what I do first is I'm using less resin, UV resin, my favorite resin. Is I start off with a thin layer of resin because I don't want the bug to touch the mold. And I will cure this until it's fully cured for like 2 minutes. While that's curing, we're going to be using dried flowers today as well. You can use any dried flowers you have. These are just ones I got off of Amazon. I'm also going to be using some Pearl X powders. I'm going to be using Interference Violet. And I got these at just a craft store. I'm also going to be using the antique silver. And I'll show you how I use those. Alright, I'll be back when my resin is cured. Okay, so that's cured. I'm going to add a little bit more resin. And then I'm going to gently add the bug here. I'm going to gently remove the bug from the wrapper. And I'm going to gently place it in the resin. And you need to be gentle because you don't want to like damage it. Now this bug is a little bit bigger than I thought, so I'll have a little bit of a dome on the back of my piece, which is fine. Now, because this bug is a little bit bigger, I won't use the bigger flowers. I'm just going to place a couple of flowers around it. And the flowers are just to add to the bug. They're not to detract from the bug in any way. That's why I chose a color that sort of makes the bug pop. If you look on the color wheel, purple is opposite green. So when I unmold this, yeah, these legs might be out. What I might do, what I'm going to do, because the legs are sticking up more than the back of the bug, is I'm going to take my UV flashlight right here is a mess, but I've had it forever, is I'm gonna hold the bug gently, like, get it in place. I'm gonna just gently hold it in place, and I'm gonna cure it like that. So I'll be back after I do that. Okay, so I pushed the front of the bug down, and I put that in my lamp for 2 minutes. I'm gonna add a little bit more resin, because under the head of the bug and those front legs doesn't have any resin yet. But because I didn't use those big flowers, I'm thinking some of these would look good down in here to fill up some space. And then after this layer is cured, I'm gonna start with the Pearl X powder. So I'm just gonna add a couple of flowers just along the base of this bug, because I don't want it to go under the head or the front legs, because then it will hide the bug, and you don't want that. You don't want to hide the bug, because it defeats the whole purpose. The flowers are supposed to accent the bug, not hide the bug. Alright, so I'm gonna put this to cure. I also checked, and the bug comes right up to the mold, so I shouldn't have any problems as far as with finishing this. Alright, so I'm gonna cure this again for another 2 minutes. We'll come back and I will do the first layer of the Pearl X. Okay, so now what we're gonna do before we add more resin is I'm gonna take my interference violet, and I just have basically an eyeshadow applicator, and I just take a little bit of the Pearl X powder and I just rub it on the resin. A little will get on the bug, that's alright. I just broke a little of his leg off. I'm sorry, little bug. That's why you have to be so careful. I'm gonna rub a little of this on the flowers, just in case there's any resin showing. I'm also gonna remove that piece of leg that I broke as soon as I find there. Now this may be a little spotty. I may have cured my resin a little too long. So I'm gonna get a paintbrush that I use for powders, just to make sure. Because I'm not going to be using any alcohol inks on this. I'm just using the powders. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add another layer of resin. You can already see the interference powder doing its magic. I'm going to let the resin have a second to just do its thing. I may have added a little too much. Nope, I'll be okay, because I have to do one more layer yet. Okay, I'm going to cure this and I'll be right back. Okay, now that that's cured, I'm just going to use the antique silver. And I'm just going in right with the paintbrush. And we're just going to dust this entire thing with the antique silver. Don't need to be super careful this time because the bug is entirely covered with resin. This is just the final layer now. And then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna put the final layer of resin just to smooth things out. And I'm gonna do a full cure for this. We're gonna do 5 minutes. We're gonna do a 5-minute cure. I'll come back, I'll demold it. If it feels sticky in any way, I'm gonna put it back in my light before I put this in the setting. Now I do have a little bit of a dome here, but that won't interfere with the setting I have at all. I will see if I can find this setting on Amazon. I think that's where I got it from. Okay, I'm gonna cure this and I will be back. Okay, so that's all cured. So let's see what it looks like. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim the edge, get it all cleaned up, and then we'll put it in the setting together. I'll be right back. Okay, so this is what it looks like now. I got the sides cleaned up. It got a little bit dull while I was doing that. I'm not worried about that too much. I need to sand the bottom a little bit. What I use to sand really is just a nail file. It's a 8080 nail file. You can get them cheap on Amazon. I'm not gonna link it because there's so many different ones. So I just literally just run it across the nail file. And I'm doing this so that it has some grip because I'm gonna be using a jewelry glue to glue it to the bail. I need to sand it a little bit more. I'll be back when I'm done. Okay, so that's all sanded. I'm just cleaning the piece with a baby wipe and some alcohol. And it's still gonna look a little dull, but again, that's okay because the finding I have is actually just a little bit too large. And I can't show you that step in the video because it takes a while for the glue to dry. But what I do... Okay, so... This is all clean of dust now. You can see I filed the back. I'm just waiting for it to dry. This is the finding I have. It has all the ridges in it. I'll glue the finding in, but you see there's room around it. So after the glue dries, which it'll be dry tomorrow, after the glue dries, I'll coat this with another layer of UV resin to make sure it's secure. It'll add the shine that I want. And then it will look like this one. This is nice and secure, and there's no space between the resin and the binding. So the glue that I'm going to use is this glue. It works great for jewelry. So I'm just going to put, it also has a little needle to keep from getting clogged, which is very helpful. So I'm just going to put, I'm almost out, I need to get more. But I'm just going to put some right on the resin. And now you're going to want to do this in a well ventilated area, just like when you're working with resin, because it does have a very strong smell. I'm going to put some right on the finding. It smells a lot like E6000. Now before I put it down, I want to make sure that it's the right way up, because you don't want to put it upside down. And you just put it in there, and I wiggle it a little bit to make sure that it grips. And then once it's dry, I will clean it off with alcohol again before I cover it with the resin, because you can see there's a little bit of sticky again. But that's how I put a bug in resin. That's how I mostly finish it. Like I said, I'll put another thin coat of resin on it tomorrow. And what I actually do when I do that is I use a paintbrush and I just brush it on so that I can do a really thin layer without it getting everywhere. If you have any questions, reach out to me in comments. I'll be more than happy to answer them. Until then, please like, subscribe, and have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.